Top 5 surprising prospects getting buzz post-combine. I can't wait to get to number 1 on this list and hear Craig's assessment of it. But number 5, Jaylen Simpson, DB, Auburn, had put up some really great numbers in the testing. I suggest you guys go to NFL.com if you are a draftnik like me and read Lance Zierlein's breakdowns of everybody. He's done a really, really good job on everyone. But Jaylen Simpson's kind of a safety nickelback coming out of Auburn. And the reason it's surprising is you didn't hear much about any Auburn players during the season, but he tested out really well. Film's really good on him, and is someone who could probably get into the second day now. It's where maybe people weren't so sure on him, but especially the way that defenses are now, he can play nickel corner, he can play safety. I would say Washington, if they do need this and they want this, in Dan Quinn's defense, based on what I've read about him, he's kind of fit for that kind of safety that the Cowboys were using in Dan Quinn's defense over the last couple of years. In fact, ran a 4.45 40, and let me find that shuttle run he did as well. I didn't have it here. The vertical jump was 39.5, and the broad jump was 11.1. So really did overall production score 57th by them, but a prospect grade of 6.17, which means he grades out right now to a probable NFL starter. So someone you may not have heard of, but someone to keep an eye on now post-combine.
All right, yeah, don't have much to add there. I saw that the Falcons were a team that he's apparently talked to. You know how all those kind of reports start to trickle out, but that was one that apparently was interviewing him during the event. So, yeah, like you said, it's kind of been quiet as far as Auburn news goes for the last few months. I mean, I guess not if you're boots on the ground or you're somebody subscribed to one of their websites. I'm sure there's been plenty of action going on, but just kind of outside world, outside of just the normal, like, hey, Hugh Freeze is here, he's taking over play calling. What's going to happen at the quarterback position? Yeah, we haven't talked a ton about Auburn, so maybe get a little juice here in the next few weeks with some NFL draft action.
Number 4, Ben Sinnott, tight end H-back from Kansas State. We've seen him over the last few years quite a bit and was one of those kind of X-factor players for the Wildcats. And, whenever they needed a first down or kind of a big touchdown or throw a big block, it was Ben Sinnott who did it. He's a dude who'll do anything he's asked to do. 4.68 in the 40, which is, not glorious, but for a tight end, it's good. 6.82 in the 3-cone drill, 10.6 broad jump. So a super athletic guy who's got great size. It's 6'3.5" and 250. So someone that, maybe was like a day 3 prospect going in, but might sneak into day 2 if you fits your system. But definitely a guy who's going, I would say, by the 4th round based on his film and his workouts now kind of matching up well.
I love that he can do a lot of different things. I don't know about, overall how that fits into an NFL offense. I just like the guy is tough. He seems to have really good hands. He seems to be always in a position to make a play when something's needed. He's not a playmaker, but he is also so reliable.
Yeah, he's a super productive, super reliable, like you said, just solid all-around player, can block free, can catch the football. I think in today's NFL, there's obviously a place for him. And so what a great time to be a tight end going into the league nowadays. Not saying he's going to be Travis Kelce or along those lines, but, yeah, can he be productive? Can he be good? Can he have a long career? Yeah, I don't see any reason as to why not. Maybe there's a breakdown out there where there's some glaring deficiency, but I don't know. It seems like he's a pretty solid bet for whoever decides to take a chance on him.
Number 3, Jaylen Wright, running back from Tennessee. I don't know if people really know this about them because I didn't know it. I remember watching highlights of him and having some big runs and having this crazy speed, but this is the dude who led the country in yards per carry last season and over 7 yards a carry, as a matter of fact, and had a 40-yard dash time of 4.38. Good size, fantastic speed, and compared by Lance Zierlein to Mel Gordon, but explosive runs on 25% of his carries, and his workout tape matched that. A bit of a fumbler a couple years ago, but this is a dude who, in the right system, could And again, you're talking about a day 3 or day 2, day 3 guy could really be kind of a diamond in the rough and played in the SEC where he had explosive play after explosive play.
Yeah, he's super athlete. I think that he's definitely one of the big winners coming out of this weekend. People can see just what a great talent he is and how he might be able to fit in a variety of different ways for teams out there. So, yeah, not somebody that I think we've talked about much at all, but a terrific player and definitely one of the winners, I guess you could say, coming out of Combine weekend.
Yeah, and number 2, to follow along this, the fastest running back time was Issac Guerendo out of Louisville. Now, look, they had a great two-headed monster at Louisville at running back this year with Gerard Jordan and Issac Guerendo. Gerard Jordan is really kind of the number one guy, with Guerendo being kind of right behind him and played a lot. But Guerendo is probably the guy who translates into the NFL a little bit more because of his size and speed, also explosive plays and what he can do. Somebody mentioned him on the chat room a couple weeks ago. And, I was talking about diamonds in the rough, and they mentioned Issac Guerendo. Certainly, he already had that, and now he's got people looking at him because he ran a 4.33 the other day. If you watch his film, it's kind of crazy. Like, he makes big plays.
225.
Yeah, and a big, strong running back. Officially 6'0", 221. So, they didn't lie too much there.
Yeah. It's so hard, dude. There's so many stats now. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like measurements, and it's like, with college football, there's like, I mean, how many metrics are there measuring every little detail? I mean, it's hard to keep up with, but there is one that I saw for Guerendo. I don't dismiss them. It's just, for somebody who's not number savvy like me, it's just a lot to, it's like reading Mandarin sometimes.
Yeah.
But for him and next gen stats, he was just a 5th running back to earn a max athletic score of 99 since 03. So that kind of encapsulates like the all around athleticism and freak that he is. So yeah, he's a guy that's got a lot of just oomph to him, a lot of what you like, blazing speed, nice size. Super dynamic guy, and hats off to whoever mentioned him in the chat room the other day as a guy who mentioned him. Very curious too, like just how do the running back chips fall? That's a guessing game. Bijan last year, it was obvious that he was going higher.
Yeah,
like that was a foregone conclusion that Bijan was going to break the mold a little bit or be one of the mold breakers and was going to go relatively high, and he did. But man, after that, it's kind of a crapshoot. So I think you're looking at Guerendo and Wright. Who else is in that mix as far as the Trey Benson would be in that mix? I would think
Benson's the one, like, of all the guys who had the fastest times with the most production.
Yeah. But there's not like a Bijan though.
No, there's not a
Bijan.
Bijan. You've got a lot of guys that are. Jonathan Brooks is widely regarded to be the best all-around prospect, but he's not been working out because he's recovering from the ACL, and I can't disagree with that. Like, if you told me pick the best running back in the draft if everybody's healthy, I'm probably saying Jonathan Brooks.
I think what's
scary. Again, it's not Bijan.
Yeah, I think what's scary though is Jonathan Brooks got hurt and they didn't even really miss a beat.
No.
I mean, they really didn't miss a beat at all.
No, and like they had that couple week period where it was like trying to figure it out.
Yeah, it wasn't perfect, but
they didn't look great when it came to that. And then when Cedric Baxter quit being scared, they were just like, all right, here we go.
It wasn't like they fell off a cliff once he left. It took them a second to adjust, but they've got some studs back there. They're about to go on a real crazy run, I think, with running backs getting drafted.
Over time, and there have been others, USC for the longest time was known as that, Nebraska with their run on, their running backs that they get into Austin, and they rarely don't hit on them. Jonathan Gray was good. He wasn't great.
Malcolm Brown
Brown from Steele was good.
Yeah.
But I mean, the run that they've had, the reason people go there, and it's not just because of Earl Campbell and Cedric Benson and Ricky Williams. They have
Priest Holmes and plenty of not to go all the way back.
Jamal
I'm just saying,
Charles.
Jamal Charles. But like right now, it feels like they're about to hit us. You just had Rojan and Bijan, and now you're about to get Jonathan Brooks, and then there's going to be Baxter and so on and so forth. So yeah, they're
from Arizona, which they've got a great pipeline.
Issac Guerendo's great too.
Yeah,
absolutely. Right. At number 1, Spencer Rattler. Now, look, his grades, as far as it comes out, are they're fine. I mean, about what most mid-round quarterbacks are going to get. But I've seen the buzz around him start to grow, and I think it's because there are draft people who look at him as a recruit 4 or 5 years ago and think if somebody could just tap into that. And I will just tell you, that if Lincoln Riley can't do it, I'm not sure who can. So I'm curious as to where this goes, but he's one of those guys who has all the arm strength measurables and all that, and we knew that from the time he was 16 years old. And here he is now about to go into the NFL, and he'll be an NFL backup for a certain period of time in his career, and maybe he winds up the light coming on him being a valuable starter in the middle rounds. But, man, I've seen a lot of this guy playing, and while he played pretty well for South Carolina in a down year for that team after, most of their skill players transferred last year. But they still like Xavier Leggett. That was fine, but I just don't see it, guys. I just don't see it with him being an NFL.
You don't see it?
I just don't see it.
All right, I think I do see it. I think he's been an NFL guy more so than a college football guy from the start. That's kind of my opinion. I think there's the intangibles that people liked, and there's the off the field definitely needed some maturing. Definitely, didn't have a lot of I know, for example, my little sister saw him on that reality show on Netflix before he even really played, and she's like, I don't like this guy. There was those kind of issues maybe, but that's also personal, just opinion, but I think he's always had the skills. It's a matter, can he put it all together? Can he lead? Can he do those things? I think maybe he's matured a bit, which is good, but I think the skills have always been there, and it's just a matter of putting it all together. So the arm strength, the ability to hit certain throws, his pocket presence. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can break down, but I think as a guy who's just got the skills to play at that level, I think that people do see that, and I think he is blessed with those types of talents. But I can understand where you look at some of his lesser performances or the attitude or whatever, and get beat out by Caleb Williams, although that's not really a bad thing in the long run. But yeah, he's a very polarizing prospect, right? That would be a fair thing to say.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of got a little Baker in him.
I think it's just kind of depends on who you talk to and who's maybe got some biases toward him, but he's definitely a very polarizing. I saw a lot of that. I'm all in on Spencer Rattler after the combine. I think people are making some knee-jerk reactions about the combine because this shouldn't be the thing that sells you on him or not. It should be all of the games that he played in over the last several years. But I can see the temptation to line him up and see what he can do because he does have a great skill set. But can he make the right decisions and do all those things? I mean, that is a question mark.
All right, Paul, that it? Thank you very much. Emery Winter is